Hey lads, today I'm going to show you how to do small tiling job. I have a old bathroom in a house and but some of the tiles are fairly loose. By fairly loose I mean that they just held there by shear wheel, which they are losing or lost already. So I'm going to show you how to do such a small job by yourself. Very simple. So let's try. So here you can see, maybe always when you do something it's better to create as much free working space as possible. So when it's possible to dismantle it, so I just dismantle the hose for shower head. So the main problem is here. Yeah, as I mentioned, it just doesn't hold there anymore. So all of these are okay, so we have a couple ties, leaking faucet, but we're gonna focus on a leaking faucet some other day. Today problem is, can I stop it? Hopefully it'll stop. So as you can see behind the tiles we have some sort of a MDF. It's always bad news because MDF it's basically pressure or paper pressed together. So once you get it wet then it's sort of a done deal. But let's be honest, right now I don't want to do the whole renovation of a bathroom, we just need to temporarily fix it. Now I'm also noticing that the tiles here are sort of a loose also. Yeah, should stop poking, otherwise I will take off everything. So yeah, let's take off this bastard. And we will need to remove this. There you go, done. We will need to take out that threaded bar. But first, we are going to start with, it's actually removing the old glue from the wall. So unfortunately I don't have a more suitable tool at my disposal than old chisel. I don't know if you can see it, but that chisel it's already been used for many things but wood. So yeah, let's use it to remove the old glue. Actually works quite well. By the way, probably good idea to put something like a stopper in your bath, so all that debris doesn't go in. So let's use it. Yeah. course, would be easier to cover with something. I think that to collect it later on from above, it's not gonna be such an issue. Another thing we can remove. Perfect. Wow. That ceiling is definitely not as it should look. If you can see it, but yeah. It's seen better days. I would like to stress, maybe I will stress it a couple more times, that I'm just trying to temporarily fix the bathroom or the tiles, because eventually this bathroom will have to be renovated, so this is going to be just a temporary, basically to get me through winter. Yeah. Whew. Starting to sweat a bit. Time to take off the jumper. Okay, so now the surface it's mostly clean. So surface is mostly clean. You can still see some glue, but main idea behind it is that it should not be should not create sort of a bumps, you know, because eventually when we put a new glue on the wall, we will push the tile against the wall, and if there will be some old residue of the glue, you know, something that will create a sort of a bump, it will not let us push tile more into the wall. So if there is a bit of a glue on the wall, it's fine, unless it would be sticking out too much, then it needs to be removed. So now you can see that I have a nails there, so those nails sort of sticking out, so let me find some hammer and let's drive them more in, and also let's remove that threaded bar. So I found a very old hoover here, some Nilfisk type GA70. So let's use it to get rid of this debris. Now when we have a wall clean, let's put the glue on and tiles. No, we can't. So, as I mentioned before, first we need to drive the nails in. So let's do that. Good. Now I'm not sure if it's visible here, but this part is sort of sticking out, and nail doesn't hold it. So let's try to add some nails and hope that those will hold it. That's better. Maybe we will do something same for the rest of the other edge. Okay, it's probably gonna be the best if I will have that headlight on me. Very difficult. Ouch! Ah! As you can see, I really suck at putting nails. Good, perfect. Can't be better. Okay. So yeah. Most of the nails, we scared them enough to hide. So now let's get rid of this rod. So to get rid of that rod, I brought my trusty Knipex. So let's just grab it. And take it out. It looks that it's a combi screw. So what I mean is that on one side we have a thread which goes to the wood, and or the wall plug, depends. And there on this side it's threaded bar. So last surface checking before we put a primer. Let's hope it's gonna be alright. So now let's clean it. Okay. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, here it is. There's a nothing press like when you put your tool somewhere and you can't find it. So, clean it from the dust. Now, what do you will need? It's primer. In country where I am right now, I have this one. Basically what primer does, it's sort of like a diluted glue. So you put it on the surface of the wall. First thing, it will close the wall. So for example, if I have an MDF here, when that primer is dried, it's gonna create a sort of a coat on it. So it will not be sucking water or, yeah, mainly water, so much in. So, and also it will create a sort of a better surface for the glue to actually adhere to it, glue to it, whatever it is. So let's put a primer first. So what it says, basically I don't know if I should dilute it or not. Always when you are not sure about some product, check its manual. So what it says here, it's basically mix lip primer 54 with clean cold water. The ratio depends on a base. Shake before use. Dilute the first layer 1 to 5 and apply the second layer undiluted. So first we will shake it and fold the manual back in the case that we need to get back to it later. Shake a bit more and let's dilute it 1 to 5. So basically 1 portion of a primer. So in my case I will use a cups. So let's say that I will use a 1, 2, let's do 3. 3 cups of a primer and then 15 cups of water. So when you add the water and primer, let's mix it well. And then we can apply it to the surface. I already know that 3 cups was too much, but too late now. Try to not put it on everything, that primer will really stick to everything. But I already have it on above, so if you drip on some surfaces, I highly recommend to clean it while it's still not dry. So now let's get some rock and wipe those surfaces I already. So you wouldn't believe how difficult it is to find a rock in a house. So I found this thing in the kitchen. So let's use it before that primer dries. And I will have a bigger problem to deal with than what is there right now. Okay. Okay, it seems like that we cleaned it well. Now it has to dry, so let's let it dry. Room it's quite warm, so it should not take long. So our primer is dry, our first coat is dry, so right now let's put the undiluted primer on it, so we have a final layer. And eventually when that dries, we can put the glue and tiles on it. So let's put a second layer or coat of a primer. So when I was diluting primer before, I actually put 5 cups in it, and that seems to be too much. So this time let's do something stupid. I know that it will not work, it never worked, but let's try. Let's put a tiny bit directly on the brush. like that. Yeah, there you go. You can see. So that's our undiluted layer of a primer. Now perfect. Next time I will dilute it directly in a brush, and I might not have so much of a diluted primer now. You can always put a primer back in a bottle, but I'm not sure actually it might be the case. If you put a water in it back, it might be alright, but it might go actually bad. It's a water, so it happened to me once that back when I was living in London, we actually put the diluted primer back into the bottle and then store it in a sort of a warmer room. And when we opened it after a couple of months, it really reeked like a Stoic water. So I would not recommend to put the diluted primer back in, but who knows, might be fine. Just don't store it in a warm storage. So let's let it dry, and once it's dry, let's do some tiling. Again, after you apply the primer, don't forget to wipe the surfaces. You definitely don't want a primer to dry on it. It would not be such a disaster, but now it's so easy to get it off the surface. Later, it will be pain. You would need to scrape it. But if you would forget, nothing happens. You would just get a Stanley blade knife, and if you have a smooth glazed tiles, you can just very nicely scrape it down with a Stanley knife. Super simple. Just be careful. Don't cut yourself. It hurts. By the way, if you don't want brushes to be just disposable brushes, always when you use a primer, wash them. Wash them thoroughly, otherwise they will basically turn into the concrete, and then you will not be able to use them at all. I think that even if I wash them, it will harden a bit, but it's still possible to work with it. But if it would not be washed, the end. You know. So that's it. Yeah, my girlfriend's gonna kill me. There's gonna be primer and debris absolutely everywhere. Let's hope that she will like the job we are going to do and she will forgive me. Okay, so now we have a surface, it's prepared. Now the bigger question, do we have a spare tiles? I don't. I had a one. So yeah, I brought it with me. Here it is. As a proof, clean spare tile. That's good. Because that part where we had that combi screw, the tile was broken there. So we need at least one spare. But unfortunately I don't have a more spare tiles. So what we are going to do, we are going to take those old tiles. We are going to take off the glue and reuse them. So if you are as cheap as I am, this is the way for you. So let's take all the tiles we want to reuse, let's take them out. Let's take the angle grinder with a tile cutting disc, or any cutting disc. I mean any cutting discs for concrete, tiles, basically the diamond disc. Don't use the grinding disc or cutting discs for either wood or metal. That would not end up well. So let's take all those old tiles and let's prepare them for next life. Okay, so now we are outside. One thing I might mention quite a few times: always wear your PPE, personal protective equipment, you know, because you have just one hearing, I guess that is the way to say it. You have just one set of eyes and also respirator. So you don't want, when you do anything around your house or for yourself, whatever, you don't want to rush to hospital because that will just screw your working day. So protective gear, always when you work with an angle grinder, so at least safety goggles, a nice set of silent headphones. Ouch! So let's do it. So for cleaning tiles, I'm going to use this disc. It's a diamond disc. It's actually this diamond disc. It's, as you can see, it's full. You know, there are no teeth on it. So this one, it's very good if you need to cut tile, you know, just across. The fact that it doesn't have those teeth, it will not sort of damage the glazing, I think that is the word, yeah, glazing. So it's good. For what we are going to do, not so ideal. The diamond disc with no teeth would be better, but I'm cheap as a fuck and I'm working with what I have. Unless I don't have anything, then I have to buy something. Another thing I would like to point it out, it's not visible on my angle grinder, but usually when you have angle grinder, you have that angle grinder and you have those two holes with a nut and it comes with a key. Some people, they are very crazy about it, and always when they put the disc in it, they grab that key and they tight it so much that when you want to actually lose that nut and exchange the disc, it's bloody impossible. So always when you are removing your disc, just tight it enough that you can just lose it. The angle grinder usually spins the way that it's against the nut, so when it actually spins, it will tighten itself. So no need to, you know, over tighten it. But it's everybody's choice, you know. But if you are working with my tools, I will not let you, because I love my tool too much. Then don't use that key. No, it's annoying. So let's put the disc inside. Usually on an angle grinder, it would show you the rotation. Some of the discs, like this one, have a rotation arrow on it, so follow that one, you know. So let's put it in. Let's secure the rotor, tie the nut, make sure that it sits well. Oh, actually I have those holes, so they are under here. Yeah. Of course, I don't want to discourage you to use that key, but I was tightening my angle grinder this way, not this one, but all of the angle grinders I was ever working with, and always when I tighten it with my hand, it's just enough. It never got loose. Just fine. So now we are ready. We have a safety equipment, so let's get to it. I should maybe mention that generally on this channel I will be saying a lot of things. All of them are just my opinion only. It's not general guidance, like right now with that angle grinder. So use that key, it's there for a reason, but I'm just telling you my experience, what I have done. But yeah, just follow your best judgment, you know. It's not about to follow whatever the person on a YouTube or screen says to you. You know, read the manual, you know, discuss it with a manufacturer if you are not sure. I just want to clarify it. It's better to say it, better safe than sorry, as usual. So, what I have done, I actually took all the tiles and I sort of cut them in this pattern. Why in this pattern? For two reasons. You cut in this pattern, it's very easy to scrape it down, and also by cutting it this way I roughened up the surface, so probably it's not necessary, but just in case. I did it with a new tile as well. That surface just seems to be too smooth, but those tiles are meant to stick to tile glue. So what I've done, it's probably not it's not necessary, but you know, for peace in the mind, why not? It's just a one tile, couple more there, so it's not gonna kill me. And definitely it's not gonna do any harm to the tile, so yeah, maybe I wasted my time. That will be more of a wasting, so never mind. Hello. Yeah, recycling. Sorry. Okay, and the last piece. Perfect. So now let's clean this mess. So we clean our tiles. So because there's still some glue, tile glue residue. Oh, sorry. Fortunately, this is my light right now. Don't have a better setup, but you know, let's make the best out of what we have. So clean tiles. I put them actually on a cardboard box here. Why? Because I would love to put a bit of a primer on them. I will actually use the excess amount of primer I have, the diluted one. Just to be sure that that glue which is already on the tiles will not basically prevent us from a good job, or job well done. So if you would leave it there, or if I would leave it there without the primer, what could happen? Actually, when I put the glue on it, the old glue or glue residue would suck all the water from the glue mixture, and it would basically prevent the glue to stick to the tile. Basically same reason why we put the primer on a wall before we will put the glue on it. So this will just help us to be sure that we did everything for it to work. If you would not put it on it, if you wouldn't have a primer, I would suggest you at least to wetten it, you know, for it to soak some water, so then it doesn't soak the water from the mixture. It's just, you know, better safe than sorry. I will be actually saying, you know, quite a lot, so, you know, ignore it. Everybody has some of the words that are excessively used in a speech. So now let it dry and then we will continue. So, again, sorry for the light. It is what it is. So, for next part, we will need a couple tools. You can do it without it, but if you are doing large area, like a large area of the tiles, it's better to get it. So, one of it's the very important, it's actually notch trowel. Yeah, it's basically a trowel which has a notches. I don't know if you can see there. Camera is focusing on my face, so let me show you. This one has actually two types of notches, so you can see notches on it. What do you use it for? Basically, when you grab the tile, you put a tile glue on it, and then with it apply it on a tile. So basically it put a layer of a glue in it. Here's sort of a trenches, notches between. What is it good for? When you then stick the tile on the wall, the gaps between the glue you created a trowel, it actually allows you to push it more in. So it helps you to actually level it or level it. Set the depth. One good trick. If you have a tiles with a huge difference, or like there is a huge gap, you have two options what you can do. Either you will put a huge layer of glue on the wall, let it dry, you know, to sort of shorten or the gap distance, or it's another thing, it doesn't work in all cases, but with a notch trowel you put the glue on it in one direction and on the wall the other direction. So eventually, let me just draw it on the wall. So with the trowel you would put the glue this way, so it would create the notches like that, and then on the tile you would put it this way, so you would actually end up with this like a mesh. What does it do? It would allow you actually to go bigger or thicker distance, more from the wall, you know, you would create the two layers. But more about it when we do the reconstruction, because we might need it. So let's get ready for tiling. So when you're mixing your glue, follow the instruction. But basically what you want to glue that sort of this consistency. It holds, you know. So if you put it eventually on a tile, it will not be going down. So this is a consistency you are aiming for. So when we have our glue ready, now we have two options. Either we will apply glue directly on a tile and then glue it to the wall, or we will apply the glue to the wall. In my case, I don't have much space for the travel to go there properly, so I will be applying glue on the tile and then stick it to the wall. So let's do that. Sometimes it's good to apply glue on a tile with spade or something, you know, if you don't need it everywhere, or if you have a trowel, it's good too. Now we are going to put it on a wall. It's good if you have ready. You can either buy spacers, or if you are cheap like me, just to get a few shavings of the wood. Not gonna be even, but as I said, this is just a temporary fix. So we are not aiming for perfection right now. You just want it to stay until we do the whole bath duly. So that's our first tile. Let's do the rest. I thought that I will leave that cardboard there to prevent me to make a more mess than I already done, but unfortunately that cardboard is thicker, so it was elevating the tile too much. Or elevating, yeah, elevating probably would be the correct word. So let's do it this way then. Another tile. Again, let's get a nice wood shaving and create a roughly similar gap as there is already. Good. Yeah. As I said, I'm not expecting perfect result. I just don't want the water to get behind the wall. So, for that purpose, this is going to be perfect. Depending on what glue you buy, you might have a reasonable time to set it in properly or to adjust the position. My tile glue is giving me half an hour, so I basically have a half an hour to wiggle them around. Then it's going to be more set and it would not be good to move tiles after. So yeah, get ready to be ready. I never liked tiling, never. Yeah, this is one of those areas which will be a bit deep. This one is a bit more elevated, so what we can do here, I will do what I mentioned before here. So, yes, we will get rid of the glue on the tile, leave it there. Now, we're going to apply glue on a wall. You can apply it directly on a trowel right now, on a shorter edge, which I am going to use. Okay, like that. And now I'm going to put the glue on the wall like that. Either we can leave that layer there, whole, because we know that right now there will be more, or we can do, maybe basically take a part of it down, create the notches there, and that will give us an option to set it more precisely. So now let's take a tile with a glue on it. Now, because the notches on the wall goes this way, we will put the tiles notches facing this way. So on the wall horizontally, on a tile vertically. And that gives us just the right distance. Perfect. Again, let's grab some wood shaving and set it in. Yeah, I'm messy tiler, a person who puts the tiles. So let's continue. Next. I forgot which tile was that. So we forgot to turn on the camera. Will happen and will be happening. Okay. And now the last bit. So, I just realized that I didn't clean one of the pieces, so yeah, I went down and went through the process. See? So, yeah, now let's continue. Now we have all the pieces to finish the job, hopefully. So, let's hope that glue is still workable. It showed it was not half an hour, so. This part will be a bit trickier because usually you would want something at the beneath to support it, but for me it would mean to take out the bath, which is basically fixed. So what I'm going to do is to use these wooden, not even notches, wedges, I just chop it over the big chunk with an axe and create sort of a shaving like that, big pieces. And I hope to use them exactly for this purpose. So let's see if I will curse the decision or not. So far so good. Yeah, but also it was just a first out of the three to go. So still quite a lot to go around. Okay, basically second last. Oh, sliding down. Should have done any more. Oh my goodness, this is a cowboy job. But if it works, it's alright. But as I said, again, I just want it to last, or to be sort of not full of holes until we do renovation, so temporary fix. But usually temporary fix becomes permanent fix very, very often. So okay, now I see that this one should have been addressed. Never mind, never mind. We will make it somehow. We'll put more glue on this one. Like this more glue. Whew, get rid of my notches. Yeah. Okay, so now we are done. So packaging says 24 hours before we can put the grout. So now let's let it dry and we will come back to it tomorrow. So one more thing, after you finish your job, always wash your tools in a bucket and don't pour that water in your toilet or sink, or wash it in your toilet or sink. Why? Because all that glue, either it's a tile glue, it's a mortar, or any basically building substance, mixture, whatever, plaster. Once you flush it down the drain, it will basically get built up either in a pipe or waste trap or somewhere. It will harden and it will either reduce the diameter of the pipe or it will permanently block your pipeline, either trap, whatever. Just advice. Don't use your tools in a sink. Don't flush the water in a sink, bathroom. Just wash it in a bucket and dispose of it safely somewhere outside. And always wash your tools. There's nothing worse like a hardened material on your tool, mainly for you, for future, next time when you will want to use that tool. It's a bloody pain to actually, take it down the tool when it's hardened. Now, when everything is still wet, not set, not hardened, it's so easy to wash it. For some tricky parts of your tool, you can always use just a brush, dip it in the water and clean it properly. Your tool will thank you, you will thank yourself in the future. So do it, always. Take care of your tools. So, everything is already glued. That's good. So, today we can continue. Good. So, all the glue is and so you can remove all the wood chips. So we can remove the bit of glue that got on a bar. The stuff that got stuck on a tile. And we also remove the the tile glue that got into the gaps between because we don't want to glue there will be grout. So it's good to clean it. Also, now when we will be grouting, we'll check the rest of the wall, and we have quite a lot of loose grout here, so we'll loose it and put it there again. Very well, when we see the hole, it's good to scrape it around. If nothing comes out, it's alright, but sometimes everything comes out, and yeah, that's what we don't have.
You need to be careful with your tool because as here I just got a bit rough and you can see that the glazing of the tile, it's gone now, probably not see that. Yeah, here, not very much visible, but it's gone.